Okay, so I'm glad that you took us up on this opportunity to provide a free demonstration of what I've been talking about with this United Financial Freedom Money Max account. It's a pretty amazing program, and I was introduced to it by my friend that I'm joined on this call right now, Lynn Spencer. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the opportunity to share this with people. I know it's going to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And this really is going to be a 100% free opportunity for you to get just a firsthand look at how this program works. And you can see how, everything from a monthly budget is impacted to what kind of numbers are we talking about? What types of loans are we dealing with here to see if this is going to be a good fit for you. And after you walk through this free demonstration, of the program, people have the opportunity to schedule an appointment directly with you or even to call you directly and see if it's a good fit for their specific situation.
Absolutely. And that's what we're inviting people to do. I think once they see the demonstration and what the program does, Jeff, I think they're going to be pretty excited and want to see what it's going to do for them. But before I actually get into the demo, I want to talk for a couple of minutes about what I call the credit card trap. And Jeff, years and years and years ago, I used to be caught in this credit card trap myself, and I know a lot of people are right now all over the country. People are struggling financially. They're having to put things on a credit card now that they didn't have to a few years ago. Groceries and gas, because with inflation and the budget shrinking and money getting really tight, is a lot of times we don't have any choice but to bring out the credit card and do what we need to do to take care of our bills. So with the credit card trap, this is what I'm talking about. Let's say that you don't quite have enough money to make your budget. So you go ahead and pull out the credit card, and month one, you charge $500, a little bit at the grocery store, a little bit at the gas station, whatever. And let's say that the credit card interest rate is 24% and the minimum payback is 2%. Well, that first minimum payment is going to be $15. But if you look right here at the bottom, it says that's going to take 55 months to pay off, and you're going to pay back $832 total. That's 55 months. That's almost 5 years. But here's what happens if you can't pay the whole 500 off and you have to do the minimum balance by month two. Look what happens to this just by putting another $500 on there and paying that $15 minimum. Now it's going to take you over 30 years to pay off, and you're going to pay back a total of $8,116.40.
Yeah,
Jeff, that's crazy.
it is. And that's the tricky thing about credit cards is they're so easy to use. And at the same time, they can get you in a bind really fast. And there's no shame around using a credit card and or having to use it from time to time. But if you don't stay on top of it, it'll get on top of you really quick.
It does, for sure. And I just want to run this out. Here's month three. Now you're going to pay back total of $12,000. Month four, now you're up to 15. Month five, it's going to be up to $20,000. That's literally almost 10 times the amount you actually owe. And by month six, $23,000 payback if you're just paying the minimum payment. And what that really turns into is 824% interest over the life of that debt. And like you said, Jeff, people don't intentionally do that, but a lot of times life kind of traps you into this situation where you have to pull out the credit card and you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So the problem is clear, and especially when it comes to credit card debt, but some of us have just more, natural ways of accumulating debt, whether it be home loans, auto loans, school loans, stuff like that. So it's definitely a problem that can compound. And that's why I think this solution that the MoneyMax account offers is pretty amazing.
It is, for sure. And thank you, Jeff. So let's go into what I call unlocking the power of your existing cash flow using the MoneyMax system. And it is with United Financial Freedom. So I want to show you a demonstration today, friends. of what the program can potentially do. Now, this is just a demo. This is not going to be your numbers. This is for illustration purposes only. Your situation is going to differ. This is Brad and Cindy. And you can see right here on screen, Brad and Cindy have $1,000 in their checking account. They're earning 1% there. They've got $5,138.89 in savings, and they are, in fact, earning 5.25%. Something to note, because the interest rates have increased over the past 2 or 3 years, friends, you can actually get what they call a high yield savings now. And Vio Bank happens to be one of them. They're paying out 5.25% interest on that. And Brad and Cindy's home is valued at $475,000. But like most American families, Brad and Cindy have a whole bunch of debt hanging over their heads. And you know, it's no fun to be in debt. I think most people would love to be out of debt if they could. They just don't quite know how to get there. And this program makes it so simple. So let's take a look at Brad and Cindy's debts. They've got 5 consumer debts: an American Express, an auto loan, a MasterCard, a student loan, and a Visa. You can see what the annual percentage rate on each one is, the balance, how much is still available if they need it, the monthly payment, and when it's due. So if you add up all of those balances on those 5 debts, that's $80,000. Now, on top of that, Brad and Cindy have a brand new $389,900 mortgage at 6% APR. The monthly payment is $2837.65. They've also got a line of credit. They don't owe anything on it, but it's there and available if they need it. Jeff, one thing I want to mention right here is that people do not have to have a line of credit in order for the program to work. It'll work brilliantly with just a checking and savings account, and I'll show you that in a moment on the demo. But the other thing I want to mention is that you don't have to have a mortgage either. I help people all the time to just have, you know, student loans or credit cards or car loans or a combination thereof. And it doesn't really matter what your situation is. We can pretty much help anybody get out of debt really quickly.
Yeah, so the program doesn't necessitate that you're locked into these specific financial structures. There's enough flexibility in it depending on what your personal financial structure is, that the program is still going to work.
Correct. Absolutely. So, friends, I'm sure you've seen this dashboard up here at the top and you're wondering what that is. Well, here's the good news. Even though Brad and Cindy owe $469,936 of principal debt and brand new 30-year mortgage, the program says, no, Brad and Cindy, don't worry about it. You're going to be debt-free in 10 years. We even show them their payoff date, September 5th of 2033, and how much money the program is going to save them. In this case, $337,000. Jeff, I know this is not your numbers, but if you and Joy could save 20 years of debt payments and $337,000, would that make a difference in your life?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's just when it comes to debt, in one sense, you're obviously deferring, you know, so much of, well, we'll worry about this later because you have immediate needs. But to know that you don't have to defer it that far, and that this program specifically, and I hope you'll talk about it, how it's programmed in a way to constantly make sure that you're being as efficient and optimal as possible with the money that you're bringing in, so that you're not living in this mysterious cloud of deferring. I don't know how long this is going to be here, but maybe I'll pay it off before I'm dead, type of thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Jeff. Thank you. So people always want to know, how in the world can you save a family 20 years of debt payments and that much money? Well, friends, I changed the screenshot in the dashboard here to show you that the reason we can do that, there's 2 reasons. One, there's intensive mathematics going on behind the scenes. You can't see it, but it's there. There's something along the lines of 4 million line items of code. And inside of the 4 million line items of code, hundreds of thousands of advanced factorial math, engineered math, advanced formulas, algorithms. There's just all kinds of mathematics going on behind the scenes. In fact, one of our founders said the other day, this is as close to financial AI as somebody can really get. So it's breaking down every number, running number against number, and like Jeff said, it's calculating the fastest path for you to get out of debt and how to most efficiently use your cash flow. But the second reason we can save that much money for people is because most people don't understand how much interest they're scheduled to pay on top of the principal. So I brought this up to show you if we add these two numbers here together, how much we're going to save them plus what they're still going to have to pay. My goodness, Brad and Cindy were scheduled by the banks to pay $491,000 of interest. I don't know about you, but that's an insane amount of interest to be paying the banks and lenders, because at the end of the day, what does interest buy us? Nothing, right? And over the life of their loans, that works out mathematically to be 104.63% interest over the life of the loans. Friends, if they follow the bank's path, Brad and Cindy will be paying back almost $1 million, $961,426. I want to share with you something that most people are not aware of, and that's how the banks actually calculate interest on amortized loans. An amortized loan could be a mortgage, a car, a truck, a boat, an RV, a student loan. Any amortized debt is what they call a closed-end debt. You can put money in, but you can't take money back out. It's a closed-end amortized loan. So this is not Brad and Cindy. This is an example from another client that was gracious and let us borrow their numbers. But every amortized debt comes with a loan estimate closing disclosure. Now, in this particular case, they're borrowing $395,126 on a mortgage. Look how much interest the bank is planning on them paying back on top of that principal. One thing that people don't understand is on an amortized loan, the bank's calculating how much interest you're going to pay every single day. Most people think in terms of monthly payments, but the bank thinks in terms of how much interest are we going to collect every day? And it turns into a really, really big number. And here's the rest of the story. Banks advertise what's called APR. That's the annual percentage rate. That's the number they promote. That's the number we get stuck in our heads as consumers. But look what it says right here on the closing disclosure from the bank. It says APR is not your interest rate. That's not the interest rate. In other words, that's the number that they promote, but they're really charging interest on what they call total interest percentage, or the acronym TIP, which ends up being a really, really big tip for the bank. And in this case, 130.58% interest over the life of the loan. It's a crazy amount of interest.
Yeah. Yeah. And to your point, I mean, all this can get very complicated. So the simplified explanation of something like an APR at 7.269 is where we're used to thinking. Little do we know that behind the scenes, this is really what it amounts to at the end.
It is. And maybe you got a 5.83% on your mortgage, friend. So you're thinking, man, I'm sure glad I'm not the guy that's got 7%, right? That's how we think. But, even with a 5.83% APR, if you look at the numbers, that's still 93% interest over the life of the loan. And oftentimes people will say, well, I refinanced during the pandemic. I got this incredible 3.55% interest rate. And I've even had people tell me, I don't want to pay off my mortgage because I got this beautiful 3.5% interest. I never be able to borrow money that cheaply again. And I tell them, well, let's pull out your closing disclosure and see what you're really paying. In this case, 59.26%. That's literally double the interest of what most people would consider a really bad credit card interest. So, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. And when I first learned that that's how the banks actually calculate interest, Jeff, I got to tell you, I was angry at how much interest I paid back over the last few decades.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something that's not very well known.
So let's go to Brad and Cindy's income and expenses. And the program, the Money Max account, allows them to literally be as detailed as they want to. And for Brad and Cindy, they're bringing home about $8,400 a month. You can see how that breaks down. And they've got $650 a week budgeted for their groceries, $355 for bills and utilities. That includes the phone, power, cable, internet, TV, and then about $1,750 of unitemized monthly spending. And so the household expenditures each month, about $2,755. With the debt payments, they're spending or paying out $6,573 per month. So they've got a little bit of room in their budget, but not necessarily rich or living high on the hog by any means, kind of an average American family. So friends, what this program does, what the Money Max does, it takes all of that information and puts it through these hundreds of thousands of calculations, and it gives each family a specific action plan to follow. And that's all you have to do. You follow the action plan. You do exactly what it tells you to do. And these are going to be the results up here. So let me walk through Brad and Cindy's action plan. You'll see on the 1st of September, about a year ago, they're moving $186.82 from savings to checking. That's what those two little red lines mean. In fact, if I hover the mouse over that, it says this is to avoid an overdraft. Well, that's important. Nobody wants to pay overdraft fees. They can be pretty pricey. But why was the money in savings? And I love this part of the program. Remember, friends, Brad and Cindy are earning 5.25% interest on savings. They're only earning 1% in checking. So while your money's parked at the bank, do you want to earn 5% or 1%? The program allows you to take advantage of earning money at the same time you're canceling interest. And if I hover the mouse over the mortgage payment here, it says, hey, Brad and Cindy, when you send in that very first mortgage payment on that brand new mortgage, your payment of $2,837.65, the new balance is going to be $389,511. Well, I brought in my calculator to show people, gosh, I sent $2,837.65 to the bank, and they're telling me that my new balance is now $389,511. Friends, that's $388.15. In other words, Brad and Cindy send the bank $2,837, and the bank says, we're going to give you credit for $388.15. That's a lot of money to pay in interest.
Yeah, especially month over month.
It is. So continuing on with Brad and Cindy's action plan, on the 5th of September, move some more money from checking to savings, and then we can start attacking some debt. We've got some money now in the savings. Let's make use of that money in the most efficient manner. And it tells them take $19,1508 from the savings, pay off your American Express card. That's going to save you $2,608 of interest you no longer have to pay. And on the heels of that, take $1,876.87, pay additional principal on the Visa. Not going to quite pay that off, but it's going to save you $2,786 of interest you no longer have to pay the bank. We go into October, we're moving some money from checking to savings, take advantage of that 5.25% rate there. The rest of October, pretty normal, nothing unusual. And then we get into November. Again, we're going to cancel some interest on some debt. This time, take $2,700. This time, take $2,700.32 and move it from savings, pay off the MasterCard. That's going to save you $4,276 of interest. Brad and Cindy, that's $4,276 you to get to keep in your pocket instead of paying the bank. And finish paying off the Visa this month. That $225.72, that keeps another $21 in your pocket. Jeff, I don't know about you, but 21 bucks, I'd rather have it in my pocket than the bank's pocket because, hey, I could take you out to lunch.
Yeah, I take you up on that.
And then right after that, they're paying $906.22 additional principal on the mortgage. Friends, that $906.22 additional principal saves Brad and Cindy $4,000 $452 of interest. They don't have to pay the mortgage. And then at the end of November, another 87 that they get to keep in their pocket or move from checking to savings and earn some money on that. So, friends, it just builds and builds and builds in your favor. Now, people always want to know, they look at this and they say, well, Lynn, my expenses vary. Yeah, we know everybody's does. Maybe your income varies. Maybe sometimes unexpected things happen. Friends, that happens to all of us. We all have life kind of hit us in the teeth sometimes and unexpected things happen. The program is built to be dynamic. It literally lives with you. It ebbs and flows with you. It breathes with you. So it's going to guide you and direct you of what to do. And then as you bring it up to date each week or every couple of weeks, it's going to respin the math and tell you exactly what to do. So for Brad and Cindy, they had an unexpected event. So we click on add new action. And what happened for them is that the car broke down. So now they've got to spend $2,500 that they weren't planning to spend, but you got to fix the car when the car breaks down. So they go ahead and hire a mechanic and they decide their best option is to put it on the Visa. Well, what's the result? It only takes them from 10 years to 10.1. In fact, it only takes them one more month right to the day. But did you see what it did to the savings? Their savings went up. It was $337,000. Now it's $339,000. How in the world did that happen? And if you look at the action plan, here's that unexpected event. They're still moving money to savings 3 days later. They're still paying off the American Express. They're still paying extra principal on the Visa. Friends, this is counterintuitive to how most of us would think. Most of us would think if I had that unexpected event happen and I had to pay a mechanic, I'm going to curl up in the corner. I'm going to call my best friend. I'm going to tell them how terrible life is. The program doesn't run on emotion. It's pure math. So it's just recalculating and telling Brad and Cindy, you're going to be okay. It's only going to take you an extra month to pay off. And by the way, we're going to save you most of the interest that you would have had to otherwise pay on the Visa for the mechanic. So Jeff, here we are 7 months later for Brad and Cindy. And I absolutely love this. 7 months later, look at this. They're down to 9.7. They've still got a potential of another $336,000 of savings, and they've actually saved $23,563 in 7 months. And if we go look at their debts, the American Express, that's paid off. The MasterCard, that's paid off. The Visa card, paid off. And remember the $389 mortgage? Well, now the balance on the mortgage is $385,428. What does that mean? It means that instead of just that little 388 month that they were going to gain on the principal on the mortgage, their $4,471.76 paid on that mortgage in addition to paying those credit cards off. So in just the first 7 months, Jeff, Brad and Cindy saved $23,000. They paid $6,700 of credit card debt off. They gained $4,471 of equity on the mortgage. And what that really means is they accelerated to month 12 on their amortization schedule. That's pretty impressive. I don't know what you think, but to me, that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you were first kind of lining out their financial situation, I think a lot of people can resonate with what they were seeing, the mortgage, auto loans, a few credit cards, some of that other stuff. But to see that, I mean, yeah, within less than a year, they're able to start eliminating some of that stuff. And that number, like you said, went down from 10.1 years down to 9.7 or whatever it was. And that's a number that excites me the most whenever I look at it, because again, a lot of times you look at debt like a life sentence, and 9 years down the road is a lot closer than a lifetime sentence. And also just the fact that it came down over the course of these months, there's the hope then that if we stick with this, then that number is going to get shorter and shorter.
And that's exactly what it does too. So I'm glad you led right into that. Let's see where Brad and Cindy are at 1 year after they started. Remember, they started in September 1st, 2023. Let's see where they're at now. So going into September of 2024, look what they've actually saved. With those extra 5 months, now they're $40,297 of actual savings that they've realized. That's money that they get to keep in their pocket. And now, if we look at the mortgage at the 1 year point, it's now down to $374,900. So, friends, with the Money Max system in just 1 year, they've not only saved $40,297, paid off all of their credit card, but they've gained almost 15,000. They're only 47 pennies short of 15,000 of equity. And they accelerated to month 36 on their mortgage amortization schedule. What does that mean? It means they just shaved off in 1 year. They eliminated 2 years worth of mortgage payments plus paid off all of the credit cards. 2 years of mortgage payments gone. And what's exciting, friends, they accomplished all of this using their existing cash flow. They didn't have to change their budget, no change to their lifestyle, no refinancing necessary. So the question, friends, what could the Money Max system do for you? Friends, we have a 4.9 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Trustpilot is an independent rating website where people can go on and rate companies. United Financial Freedom has a 4.9 rating out of 5 stars, which is pretty exciting. I'd like to tell people we're kind of like the Apple. We're kind of like the Steve Jobs in the financial industry, like he was to technology. We don't give people what we think they want. We give them what they never thought was possible.
Yeah, it's awesome. So one question that I had with all this is, what is the commitment level? Because though we might not have to adjust our financial lifestyle, how much time and attention is necessary to make sure that we're actually using the program properly and following it? How often do you have to stay up to speed or even logging in and updating information?
Great question. You can log in as often as you want. When you get the program, you're literally 24/7 access to the program. You can log in anytime you want and update everything and see where you're heading and see what it's going to do for you. Personally, I'm obsessed with mine. I log in daily. I love to make sure it's caught up. A lot of people are not that way. But to answer your question, Jeff, if people even log in once a week and take 10, 15 minutes and just bring the program up to date and tell the program exactly what happened, where their money went, then everything is right up to speed and they're right back on path. So at least once a week. Some people will go a month and then log in once a month and just update everything. It really depends on your time schedule. But here's the question back. For an extra 15 minutes a week, is it worth it to save a whole bunch of money?
Right. I mean, even from a time standpoint, 15 minutes a week is shaving off years, in some cases, decades from being in debt.
Exactly. And Jeff, we want to offer your audience a free analysis. I call it a savings report. We want to offer everybody that watches this video a free savings report. This is an example, obviously not going to be your numbers, but we can put your numbers into the program and then show you exactly what the program will do for you. We can compare it side by side. Here's the bank's plan. Here's the Money Max plan. Here's what it's going to do for you. And one thing I love to show people is when they save this kind of money and save this kind of time, it's really like if they were able to go to the bank and maybe get 1% or 1.5% or 2% interest. If they were able to do that, it would be the same amount of savings. Obviously, they can't, but with the Money Max, they can effectively get that effective interest rate. And what is really big to me is not only saving time and money, but getting that money to work for you. Because, friends, if you're not paying interest to the bank, what can you do with your money? How would your life be different today if you had no debt and you were able to invest and earn money instead of paying money? So we show people, once you're out of debt in X amount of time, whatever it is for them, and you've saved this much time, if you were able to take those debt payments and get it working for you, even at just a 1% return, here's how much you could potentially have for retirement. And we can do a lot better than 1% return. So we want to offer everybody a free savings report.
That's awesome. So yeah, why don't we just walk people through the process of getting a hold of you and taking advantage of this conversation to get this free analysis.
Okay. So, friends, to see what the MMA will do for you, I've got a Calendly set up. Just go to my Calendly link. Calendly is kind of spelled a little strangely, but it's pretty easy. Calendly.com/Lynn Spencer. I put my phone number in there as well to help you if you've got any questions. Please make sure that you mention Hello Saints. We want to make sure that we know where you're coming from. And when you go to Calendly, it's really, really simple. You're just going to see this 60-minute free analysis option. You just click on that. It'll open it up. Make sure that you set the time zone correctly according to your time zone. Pick a day, pick a time, and just put in your information, your name, your email, your phone number, and then just let us know in the notes or the comments that you saw this on Hello Saints. And we'll make sure that we get you scheduled, and we'll do that over Zoom, just like we are right now. And we'll do that free savings report for you. And I do want people to have your financial information prepared and ready for the Zoom meeting. Make sure that you know the balance on each one of your debts, the interest rate, the monthly payment. That's really important. And on the mortgages, we also need to know how much of the monthly payment is going to escrow. Your income, how often are you paid, the net amount that you're bringing home, and then your monthly household expenses. What does it take to normally run your household every month for food and gas and haircuts and clothes and subscriptions and all of that kind of stuff? What does that number look like? And once we have that information, then we can give them exactly what the program will do for them. And Jeff, I just want to mention, we're not going to ask for any information that's going to put anybody at risk. I don't need your social security number. I don't need your bank account numbers. This is just basic accounting type numbers. And once we have that, we're able to show you what it'll do for you.
Awesome. Lynn, this is super helpful. Appreciate you just giving us a sneak peek of the program. I know it's pretty amazing. It's helping out a lot of people. And I also know you're really passionate about helping out people who are interested in going down this path. So thank you for making yourself available and lending your resources and expertise to this. And yeah, I hope that people that watch this can get excited about the possibilities if they just reach out to you and see how they can get involved with this.
Thank you, Jeff. One of the reasons I get so passionate about this and so excited, when I found out about this program, friends, I had $330,000 of debt, and I was drowning financially, and it was just stressing me out so bad. We have been praying and praying and praying for some kind of a solution. This is where God brought us to United Financial Freedom. We got on the Money Max account. And Jeff, believe it or not, out of that $330,000 of debt, it included a mortgage, personal loan, credit cards, car loans. All of it was paid off with the Money Max account in less than 3 years.
Wow.
It saved us well over $183,000. So I get passionate and excited about it because it changed my life. And friends, I think it'll change your life too.
Awesome. Lynn, thank you so much. I love that you are also making it super easy for people to get a hold of you. And I look forward to just hearing stories about the people you connect with and how you're helping people out. So thanks so much for the demonstration. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you as well.